Hey everybody, this is Terry. I wanted to give everybody an update on what I've been doing on my Model A pickup. I think it's been about a month since I made my last video. Since then, I've actually started to wire this truck up. I bought a 12 circuit painless wiring harness for it, which is really kind of a neat deal. If you can see, let's see if you can see this or not. They actually write on the wire, you can see that or not. They actually put a mark on the wire, the full length of the wire, where it goes and what it does and this and that. And they give you plenty of wire and you can cut it to length and everything's cool. You don't have to try to remember where it was, what it went to, because it's marked on there still. So yeah, real nice system to use. Went ahead and got the fuse box in where I'm going to have it located and started doing some of this. This is all kind of temporary stuff. These are actually going to the gauges, which I'm not gonna do yet. I'll do all the gauges on final assembly. I'm gonna do whatever provisions I have to do for that. But I got the fuse box mounted where I want it. Everything that's on this side of the truck is going out, exiting on the back side of the fuse panel here. Everything that goes to that side of the truck runs up above the heating and air conditioning and across, and then it goes down into that. It goes down into through the floorboard there, and then goes forward or aft wherever it's going to go. I wanted to try to make it kind of clean. I did go ahead and wire up the center console, and there's quite a bit going on in the center console. We got the reverse switch, neutral safety switch. I got the clock. I put the headlight switch in there. 2 dome lights off of a Cadillac. So it's got a lot of stuff going on down there. So you can see it's got these are the wires that go in and out of it, and this wire over here is the solenoid wire going down to the starter. So there's quite a bit of stuff in there. This column here, and all this stuff inside the, get back to this in a minute, all this stuff that's in the center console, it's all weather pack. It's all, you could just unplug it and just carry it away, and that's how I wanted it to be. These are the weather packs, in case somebody doesn't know what those are. These are kind of a GM type deal. But anyway, that's how I wanted everything to be kind of plug and play, so to speak. The upper console, I'm going to pull it down and go ahead and reinstall the stereo, which is in this, goes in this hole here, and it has some more dome lights up here, and the speakers and the windshield wipers, and all these wires here will run up there inside this post and enter into this and go where it needs to be. And this will be a plug-in deal too. I'll be able to make this, do everything on a bench. That's my goal, is to do everything on a bench, and then come in here, lift it up there and screw it up, and go on from there and have it just plug in and work. I had some issues. I couldn't find a ignition switch holder that I actually liked. So I went down and got a piece of billet aluminum and took a hand router and routed some slots in it and buffed it and sanded it and buffed it, and that's what I've got now, is that. Back here, this is kind of a temporary deal, obviously. I'm not going to buy the Optima 6-volt batteries until I absolutely have to. So in order for me to test everything out and provide a little bit of circuit protection, I just went and got a little 2 to 6 amp battery charger, and that's what I'm using to test everything out. That middle prong is just to hold it so I don't have to, in case I don't fall and start arcing on something metal. So that's what that middle one is. It's kind of a holder. All of the wiring, like all this, it's running along the frame. This is all going to be noodled when it's taken apart, and I'll put wire loom holders, the kind that you drill a hole They snap over the wire loom and you drill a hole and you just push them in there, and that's how that's going to be. I got everything grounded. All my major pieces are grounded. I grounded the bed, I grounded the cab, and I grounded the motor to the frame, because there's going to be, the top of the frame is going to be covered with an 1/8 inch of rubber to isolate everything. And I wanted to make sure I didn't have any ground issues later. And the rear fender is actually going to have the welting on it like it's supposed to, and on around here and over. So I went ahead and come in here and I grounded the housing for the light, so there's going to be no grounding issues there. So that's what I did up there. Like I said, everything on this side of the truck exits through that hole down there, and then it goes to wherever it's going to go. Up here, these are the weather packs for the headlights and turn signals and all that stuff up here. One of these, this created a little bit of an issue right here, because whatever I did to connect everything together had to be able to go through this hole here in the radiator grill shell. So that created a little bit of a problem. So I had to use, instead of being able to use like a 4-gang weather pack, I had to use 2 2s. So, and I had to put the smallest part on the headlight side so it would get through this hole. Now, should I ever have to take this conduit off, I'll have to de-pin it just to get the conduit off. So that's kind of a pain in the butt for that. So over here, all this over here, what's going to happen here is I'm going to wire the motor up, and I'll build a cover for this that'll bolt, maybe catch 4 mounting places and look all nice and painted up real nice. It'll cover all this coming down here up, and it'll have an exit on the side for going to the motor, to the alternator, or wherever it needs to go, and it'll be all pretty and stuff. And I'm probably going to machine some aluminum wire covers to run wires in up here that'll pick up these 2 valve cover mounting holes. Kind of something similar to this. I don't know how that's going to go yet, but I'm going to do it on both sides because I've got even more wires going on the other side. Originally I was going to run some wires underneath the plenum on this intake manifold, but I noticed that it didn't go all the way through and I wasn't going to drill a hole in it. So we are adapting and changing our direction on how we do that. So, but like I said, this part here will cover all this up, and whatever wires exit that way, it'll have an exit for that, and it'll be painted to match the truck and body color. So that's that. This is the little deal I made to test everything out. As you can see, the dome lights that I've got wired up so far are working correctly, and all the door jamb pins are installed. I had to order a different headlight switch. The first one didn't have no dome function, so I had to order this one, which I like this one better anyway. Looks better to me anyway. Mounting for the ECMs in, that's going to be one of the things that comes along with wiring the motor, is running all of the wires for the throttle body injection control. Verse lights all hooked up. That's what those look like. I don't have any hydraulic pressure in the brake lines because I didn't want to do that and then have to take that all back apart. So this is actually my brake switch right here. This completes the circuit for the brake lights. So that's that. Got all the wire illumination for the clock done. And the only reason why I did that gauge is because that one is part of this. So I went ahead and did it. So with that, we got the park lights. I've had a kind of a hard time with that, with doing the tail light part of this deal, because of the fact that this brand new RPC column had a defective turn signal switch, and it's right here. So there's something wrong with this turn signal switch. I'm not really sure what it is. It's got to be inside this area here, because when it was originally put together and wired up, when I went to the turn signal to the right, the passenger side, both left and right turn signals flashed. So what I ended up having to do was I went on the internet and I kind of I looked at probably what I would consider one of the most popular turn signal switches for late GM that I could find, which was probably the same one that's in that truck there, I would imagine. And it looked like what I needed. So I went down to O'Reilly's, my local O'Reilly's, and bought it. It's like 35 bucks. I looked at it, and basically all that I was really looking at when I did that was the size of it and the footprint that it mounts on and the location of the horn button, which really, that doesn't even really matter. So I'm like, okay, that must be it. So what I ended up doing was I cut the plug off. Well, when you cut the plug off, that immediately makes it non-returnable. Actually, when you plug it in, that makes it non-returnable for most places. But anyway, I ruined it as far as any chance of taking it back. And then I realized that this little slot here, here's where the turn signal lever mounts. Well, look at this one. This one comes out straight, perfectly straight. And this one comes off at an angle like this. So that wouldn't work. So I tried putting the turn signal cam out of this one on this one, and then I still had issues with parking lights and blinkers and shit like that. So that one, even though they look like they're close enough, there's a little bit of a difference. So I couldn't take the turn signal cam off one and put it on another. So I put the turn signal cam back on the new one I bought, and I wanted to just to see if it would work. Well, it did work. How it's supposed to. So then we get into, do we cut or bend the lever to accommodate this one, which probably would have still had to have something happen right in here, some air filing or something happening right in here. So that kind of was a last resort. And do I start air filing some of this material here out to get it to rotate out straight and then fill it, plastic weld it back in? Do I do that? I mean, you get into a little bit of a problem, and I guess I wanted the right turn signal switch. So I took this one and got on the internet, and I found plenty of images of this, what I needed, but no part numbers. So after about 2.5 hours on the internet, I actually found a part number for this. It's like an SM211 or something to that effect, turn signal switch. And I went ahead and ordered a new one to replace this one. This is like 67, 68 Camaro Nova, same vintage GM truck. I think there was some AMC stuff in there, but I went ahead and ordered it. It comes in tomorrow. I'll be able to install it and put this steering column back together, and then everything should work. So with that said, that is that. So everything's working now. I guess that other turn signal switch, it did do one good thing. It made it so I knew whether or not my wiring was right, and I guess that's good enough in itself. I was actually wanting to take that back if it wasn't actually right. So it didn't turn out to happen out that way. So what do you do? Like I said, if it had come down to it, I would have modified some stuff and made that other deal work, but I didn't. I went ahead and was able to find something that I could use, so that's what I did. But that's basically where I'm at, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead. This is the painless one is like one wire harness, and then I have a whole nother one on top of that to put in. That's just to control the fuel injection. I don't know how long that'll take. I wouldn't expect that to take very long. I've got to get motor oil, transmission fluid. I'm only putting water in it for now. In fact, I'm going to bypass these two lines here. This is the heater in and heater out. I'm going to bypass that and just loop a hose from here to bypass that, because I don't have hose clamps on none of that stuff that's inside there, because that when you put a hose clamp on it makes it harder than hell to get them back off. And these are, a lot of these lines have made on ends on them, and I don't want to fight it, so I'm not going to do that until I have to. Like I said, I'm just going to put water in it. I'm not putting antifreeze in it. I'm not bleeding the brakes and all that stuff. I'm just going to get it to a point where I can fire it off and make sure it's going to run good. I'll do all of the instrument wiring and the vintage air and heat wiring on final assembly. And at the point that it runs all right, I think I'm going to, depending on when it happens, if I can get it to run like I want it to, I'll probably go ahead and call her quits for this year until after the holidays are over, and I can start taking the truck apart, doing the body work. One thing I do have to do is I need to go ahead and do some interior work. I don't know if I said it, or I don't remember if I said it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and wire this up, put the stereo back in it and all of the dome lights for that and the speakers in, and make sure that's going to be a plug and play deal like everything else. But I do have to make a headliner. I need to make a back panel here. I need to do door panels, and the one over there is for the ECM is going to be kicked out quite a bit because of the ECM, but it'll all look nice and clean when it's all said and done. I'm probably going to end up making a cover for this, so it's not an eyesore or anything like that. Let's see what else. I don't know. Just want to get it started, and then once I get it started and it runs good, then I'm going to go ahead and stop on it for the rest of the year and pick it up again after the holidays, where I can start taking some stuff apart. But anyway, guys, that's where I'm at. Went to the flea market today, and that's what that little guy up there is. I like stuff like that. And then you can see my garage exhaust hoses for the port on the garage door. So if I ever have to run something in here and it's colder and shit out, I can just pop them through that hole in the door. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.